Welcome everybody to another GNERD Corner movie review, and today I am joined by Smoke. Could you introduce yourself, Smoke?
Hi, I'm Smoke. My name's Michael. My friends call me the Smoke. I'm a nicotine fiend. I am also a celluloid fiend. I love movies. Love talking about them. I love collecting them. And JPOOL and I met over a game of Among Us, and here we are.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we're split up by not that far apart. We're like a couple cities apart. So
Yeah, I'm basically in the southeast area of Phoenix, and you're north-ish, west.
yeah,
I don't
pretty much northwest,
know.
right by the I-17.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So tonight we are talking about Dredd. 2012's Dredd. Don't want to
Yes.
mix that up with the '95 version. But we'll also be talking about a little bit about the '95 version tonight as well. So what is Dredd? 2012. Actually, when it came out, it was called Dredd 3D. I don't know if you saw that in 3D.
No, I didn't actually know about that with the 3D thing.
Yes.
Although with the slow-mo effects, that explained a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. So there were some people that actually saw this in 3D and had really shitty bulbs in their projector. So for some critics, they saw it with really bad bulbs, and when you have bad bulbs in those projectors doing 3D, it doesn't really come out, nicely. And
It's like you're only seeing that at one eye.
yeah, well, it gets darker when you do 3D, for some reason,
Yeah, oh,
and unfortunately,
polarization.
unfortunately, that kind of messed with some critics' ideas of the movie. But I saw it with a good bulb, so I got to see it the way it's meant to be seen, and
Okay.
I loved it. In 3D, it was just epic. The 3D parts definitely worked for me.
I actually wish I could have seen that in 3D. Um, yeah, with the new polarization 3D, wow. The new stuff is amazing. My first modern 3D movie was one of the Final Destination flicks. And I remember distinctly at one point when the screwdriver, they're driving a screwdriver, and I of course had to duck, because it goes right by your head. So, so yeah, I think the technology for that has gotten pretty amazing, especially like IMAX. Have you seen any IMAX 3D films?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Avatar. As much as I didn't like the movie, the effects in IMAX 3D, it's like like trying to get branches out of my face at a few points. So
Oh yeah, I love going to IMAX 3D. I'm actually missing going to some of those big IMAX 3D movies lately because, because of
yeah,
reasons and things that are going on right now, which I'm not going to mention because YouTube doesn't like those words for some reason.
2020.
Well, no, 2020 I can say that, but the other word, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
They like to filter things out
Okay,
like that. So
I thought they got over that. I thought they got over that crap.
no, they're still at it. So a lot of streamers have to be
Ah,
careful what they say and everything. So okay,
okay.
so let's get back to like the synopsis of
Yeah,
Dredd and exactly what it is. So it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity is pretty much stuck in these giant cities, and also they live in these giant buildings. They pretty much mega blocks. um, and
yeah.
yeah, they're just giant. Like they're literally whole towns in these uh, big buildings.
In Cyberpunk, they call those things sometimes arcologies. It's a concept that's been around a long time. Um, yeah, the way that it's done in Dredd is very realistic, in my opinion. Buildings a full kilometer high, which is they actually mentioned that in the movie. So
Yeah, I mean, if you're claustrophobic, you don't want to live in a mega block, but it's like a giant apartment that just seems to keep on going forever.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But because of these cities, because the rest of the world on the outside of these cities is pretty much uh, dead because of nuclear fallout, we have to deal with also a lot of infighting in the city. There's a lot of crime, and there's no attorneys. There's no, rule of law like we have it today, and it's all been brought down to these officers that have taken upon themselves to create this rule of law that says that we can, judge you on the spot. You're not getting a lawyer. Yeah,
Yeah.
judge, jury, and execution.
Yeah.
You're not getting a lawyer. Which is interesting.
Actually,
Go on.
no, yeah. I wanted to see were you going to touch on the history of Judge Dredd, like what it's based off of the comic,
Oh yeah.
or okay, because I didn't know if you wanted to start with that or not. So I'm the new guy. Don't worry about me.
Oh, we'll talk about 2000 AD right after this.
Oh, good lord, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, quick synopsis. So we have a character named Judge Dredd, or Dredd in general, and he's just this hardened officer that and judge or general that he's not a superhero. He's just really good at his job, and some people consider him a hard ass, but that's what he does. That's his life, and he has to answer a call that there's some criminals that need to be dealt with, and unfortunately shit goes down and he has a rookie officer with him, and now they have to escape a building. So pretty much the raid. But it's funny enough, right before this they were actually finishing up the movie The Raid, so it's
That's what I was going to say. It's like, yeah, I know they were released very close to each other.
oh yeah, if I remember correctly, The Raid was 2011 and Dredd was 2012.
Yeah. But still, they both have their places.
Definitely. I liked both films. Some people consider Dredd a ripoff of The Raid, but yeah. Well, I mean, the violence and the level-to-level fighting and everything. But I like how they executed Dredd. Compared to the 1995 version, I really enjoyed it. So let's get into the 2000 AD comic book. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I've read a little bit of it a long time ago, but I want to get your take on 2000 AD, where Dredd originated from.
Oh, wow. 2000 AD, I think I saw a collection of it. But the majority of the comics that I read in the 80s that had Judge Dredd in it were Judge Dredd comics. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure that some of them were, because it's a English British comic book, that some of them were reprinted. Even some of the 2000 AD stories were reprinted in America as Judge Dredd. At least I think that was. I mean, it's been, 30, 40 years now. And I thought that it was amazing. At the time, it was no punches pulled, no apologies given, brutal statement on totalitarianism. So I loved it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, in a society like that, you almost have to have a government like, unfortunately, like that
It,
because everything
yes.
has pretty much gone to shit, and
Oh
otherwise,
yeah.
you know, the rest of humanity, or what, at least in these cities, would be completely torn down without any rule
Right.
of law.
Right. Yeah.
Which is interesting because compared to what they had in the '95 version, the '95 version, a lot of that city looks so clean. In the 2012 version,
Yeah.
it is everywhere looks so dirty. Like it looks run down. It
Well,
looks worn. You know, lived in. It looks like downtown Phoenix sometimes, like South Phoenix.
the thing is that the a lot of the times I think, sorry, edit that a little bit out. um, I'm pretty sure that the reason you didn't see a lot of the upper class, upper crust, however you want to put it, is because the story didn't require it. Okay, I mean the chase that started the movie out, where he's taking on the three guys in the van. Oh, did we say spoiler warning yet? Anyway,
It's been what, like
I know, I
not
know.
8 years since the movie came out. So
Well, okay, actually, yeah. The thing is, if you haven't seen it, go freaking see it.
yeah, definitely.
We'll be anyway. But yeah, it's like at that beginning scene where he's taking down the three guys in the van. Um, it's a pursuit. Yeah, the streets are going to look nasty. Open block. Um, Still going to look kind of even if it's a middle class block, it's still not going to look 100% clean. But yeah, it's the upper floors and some of the more richer blocks. I'm thinking that are actually going to look, you know, like we would assume that a snob in a cyberpunk society would look, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
Well, no,
so
the thing
go ahead.
is, even in the '95 version, even in some of the more
Oh yeah,
like outer parts, away from all, you know, the ritzy parts of you know, Mega City One, you had a bunch of. They still looked kind of clean and pristine compared to this one. It looked more real in the
oh yeah,
2012
yeah,
version, like what it would look like. You know, the stains on the sides of the freeways and
oh yeah,
walls and everything, and the
oh yeah.
graffiti and just the way people are living. Um, I mean, you know,
Yep.
the trash on the side kind of looks like downtown LA. But you know, it's a, you know, it's a future that you wonder some if some of these people actually want to be alive at that time, because you know, if they stay anywhere near the wall of these cities, they're pretty much, there's a death warrant for them if they live there because
Yeah.
of the radiation outside those walls. And
Right.
yeah, and then in the 1995 version, there was like, it was a desolate area, but you could still walk outside the walls. And here, you would just die.
I'm going to be honest. I don't remember in the comic reading any. I mean, I didn't read a lot of them. I don't remember hearing anything in the comic about there being anything outside of the walls. So I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
I can tell you in the '95 version, there's definitely a cannibalistic family that lives outside the walls.
I I want to say that one of my friends said that they were mentioned in the comic somewhere, but you know how Hollywood changes characters and things to suit their needs, and let's face it, they did that a lot more to Stallone's Dredd than this one.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely. And we really never got over the went over the who actually stars in this version. So we have,
oh God, yes.
yes, Karl Urban, who plays Judge Dredd. We have Olivia Thirlby, and we have Lena Headey. Some people call her Headey. I
Oh yeah,
did Lena Headey. You might know her as
Cersei.
yeah, Cersei Ronan, or Sarah Connor from the Sarah Connor Chronicles. She's a badass,
Uh,
and
yes,
yeah,
yes, she is.
definitely.
And the makeup of Mama's scar, I swear to God, It's like when I saw that, I thought, I mean, because I didn't know who she was before I saw it the first time, I thought that was real. Because I mean, you don't, as deep as that looked, that makeup was just amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, there's actually a certain type of makeup. It's almost like a glue, but it goes over your skin and then it tightens it, and it kind of creates kind of
Yeah,
like
yes.
yeah, almost looks like it,
I don't get
it's sunken in and everything, and like it's real, but it's not.
Yeah,
You just have to wipe it off to
yeah.
get it to stop doing that.
I've seen that stuff before. I didn't realize it could do that deep. It was amazing. Okay, while you're talking about the acting in Dredd, there is one actor in that movie. I don't have his name off the top of my head here. His character is only known as Clan Techie. He's the redhead with the cybernetic eyes.
Oh yeah, yes.
His acting job in that movie was frippin' amazing. Okay, he really sold the fear that his character was having. I mean, that was I know it's a small thing, but it is small things that make a movie for me. So yeah, that guy's role. I mean, and his
Yeah,
acting
it's
was freaking.
I got his name. Domino Gleason, actually.
And I know I've seen him in other things too. Oh,
You've
I
seen
hate
him
that
in
when
Star Wars. You've seen him in Star Wars.
What?
He was let's see, he was the actually he was in Harry Potter. He was in
What? Really?
yes, hold
Wait a
on a
minute.
second. He was in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and Star Wars: Force Awakens. He was General Hux.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He was their mole, and then he got shot.
Yeah. No, oh my God, he's amazing. Talk about a range.
Yeah, he's actually a really good actor. I've seen him in a lot of roles, and
Oh
he's really good.
man. Yeah, he is. Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to see
Thank
him
you
like
for
that with
telling
the
me
long
that.
hair and the just usually clean shaven, but
He was also much younger in Dredd.
oh yeah, this was
So
2012, so this is a
yeah,
while back.
but oh my God. No, thank you again. That's freaking hilarious. But yeah, he's a great actor. Oh my God. Okay.
No,
Are we all right? Well,
no, but as far as
no, go
acting,
ahead.
yes, as far as acting is concerned, like Karl Urban, even though he doesn't have a lot of lines in this film, kind of reminded me of Kurt Russell's character in Soldier. I don't know if you've seen that film.
In which shoulder? I'm sorry, you
It,
cut out for a
oh,
second.
Karl Urban's no, I mean Karl Urban's character Dredd, kind of like his acting
Yeah.
is was reminded me a lot of Kurt Russell's acting and pretty much dialogue in the movie Soldier.
I'll have to.
Except for
I'll have to
Soldier,
look that one up.
yeah. Except for Soldier, I think Kurt Russell had like one page of lines, and that was pretty much it. I think you would like Soldier.
Oh,
I think
okay.
you would like Soldier. And Kurt Russell does a
Okay.
good job.
I'll take a look at it. See, I like Urban in the role because while you're right, there's not a lot of lines, there's not a lot of acting. It's just, but keeping that scowl on his face in the way that he did, when I was reading the comic, I remember that scowl on his face,
Yeah.
and it never went away. And unlike Stallone's Dredd, never takes off his helmet. And see now, if are we going to be doing any type of a deep dive into the comparison between Stallone's Dredd and Urban's Dredd?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I mean, you
Okay.
you can't talk about Dredd without talking about Sylvester Stallone's Dredd.
Okay. Then I would like to bring up a few points right now. Then, okay. The thing is, I want to point out, yes, Dredd is a much better movie than Judge Dredd. However, Judge Dredd is not a bad movie. Okay, it is a product of its time.
Exactly. It's the mid '90s.
Okay. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's like they're still got a lot of the cheese factor from the '80s movies. They of course had to try to make it a buddy comedy, although Rob Schneider.
It's Rob Schneider. I mean, even in
Yeah,
Demolition Man, he was there. So
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
hilarious. But yeah, and of course Armando Asante. How did they get him for that role? Wow, he's another amazing actor.
He is, but man, he was overacting in that role.
Oh yeah, he's chewing the scenery big time. But the thing is, though, it was good for him. He was good for the part. So
Oh yeah,
it looked great.
definitely. I mean, it's funny how you watch all those actors in the '95 Judge Dredd film, and they're so over the top, and then all of a sudden you get Max von Sydow, and you're like, he's just like perfect in every scene, and you're like, it's kind of a balance going like, here's the rest of the actors, here's Max. It's like, oh, he's way above them when it comes to even walking out, into the the unknown, into the the wasteland. It's like,
Cursed Earth.
yeah, Cursed Earth. He did such a good job in my opinion, and yeah, it's like a really good actor like Max von Sydow, just and the rest of them.
Oh God, yeah. But yeah, the thing is, though. All right, but getting back to the excuses I'm making for Judge Dredd. Also, back in the '80s and '90s, there was a lot more of when a studio got a property. It's like, okay, well, it's like this is what it is, but we needed to have this. We needed to have the buddy comedy angle. We needed to have for like Judge Dredd. It's like, I don't know who made the decision to make Dredd, Stallone and Asante's characters into clone brothers or whatever the heck it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, this is one of these things that they got away with it a lot more back in the '80s and '90s. They are doing it less now, but when studios take over the art, the CEO is taking over the art is when you start having problems.
Yeah, and it kind of takes away from the director that wanted to have his own vision out there.
Yes, exactly. And so, yes, Dredd, that is the one with Karl Urban, is much, much closer to the original source material. And yeah, we've talked about this before, about my thing about transferring from one media to another. You always lose something in the translation, but I'll save that rant for another podcast.
Oh,
Okay?
definitely.
But yeah, it's like the thing is that they kept a lot closer to the original thing, the original media, the original property, and it is a much better movie.
Oh yeah,
So.
and I think Pete Travis, who directed this film, understood that, and understood that he was also under a budget. This the budget was nearly $45 million, not counting promotion.
Holy crap!
So yeah, he did this on a really extreme budget compared to some films. Even some like low end films maybe are $90 to $100 million. So he did this under $50 million, and I thought he spent every dollar correctly. Like a lot of directors just throw around money and go like, oh well, we're gonna throw in special effects. We really don't need that, but that it's $1 million CGI scene. We need it. So.
Actually, from what I understand now, movies that you don't think even have any visual effects,
Yeah.
they're at least using digital to color shift stuff.
Oh yeah.
And
Or scene replacement.
Yeah, so, I mean,
or scene replacement when they have to clip to like the next day, and the lighting's just off because they have to actually stop filming and go to the next day. So they just cut it right there, and they digitally like put together those.
we're losing the light.
Oh yeah. Well, I can give you an example, like 1917, where it looks like one continuous shot. There were several scenes in there where they had to cut, and then they had to come back
Yeah,
and have a sort of a digital like
yeah.
cut right there, but it transitions so nicely, it's hard to catch it unless you know
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
God, it's been a while since I've seen 1917. Yeah. Yeah. Color correction for that. It's like normalizing sound for recordings. It's like doing the same thing with visual, but you got to use the computer much more.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes just less is more. When you
Oh yeah.
overextend the CGI, you overwhelm the senses for some people. Some people enjoy that,
Oh yeah.
but when you have like, I'll give you an example because I might go be going off a little bit, but as far as
That's fine.
like just natural effects and everything. Like you can take the Mandalorian and see how much they use their CGI next to how much they actually have, like people actually in makeup and prosthetics and the actual screens they use.
Practical.
Yeah, practical effects. So the screens they use are like these 180-degree screens that they're not green screens, so that they're pretty much LED projections that allow light to bounce off shiny objects or anything. So there's no light correction in After Effects because the light's already
Oh yeah,
there.
I see what you mean.
So when you
Yeah.
have it's yeah, that's an expensive device they're using, but when you have CGI is in my opinion is still not there for some things. It's just too uncanny valley.
It it really depends. Okay, there are a good chunk of movies out there that have used CGI characters people do not know were CGI characters.
Yeah.
And even in some, I mean, it's like there are times when you can hide your crimes. Is the best term for it. Like in oh geez, prequel trilogy. Ben Kenobi was heading to was at Camino, the and having the fight with Jango Fett outside in the rain. Okay, the like 90% of that was CGI. Okay, and
Yes.
while the buildings freaking obvious that the majority of the buildings were CGI, it really was not obvious that both the characters were most of the time. And the reason they got away with it at that was they hid it with the rain.
Oh yeah, definitely. In my opinion,
Yeah,
I think that would have benefited better if they actually had that wraparound technology at that time, because Jango Fett's
yeah.
armor is so shiny, and they have to color correct
Mm,
everything because of and take out all the green out of it because they were surrounded by green screen in that scene. So
yeah,
it's a headache for a lot of people, that have to work on those scenes because they have to find the smallest green patch around the reflection of anybody,
yeah,
even if a material you don't think is reflective, it reflects it, and having something like that would have made it even look more realistic, like they're actually there, because of how the
yeah,
lighting works off, how the shadows work off of them, and how even those when you have those screens in there, you can actually digitally control in like a virtual reality where the camera is positioning itself, which is actually pretty cool. But at that time, there was no such
oh
thing
yeah,
as that technology.
yeah. It's amazing how it's like a movie will come up with one way to do a shot, and then that inspires 20 other things in other movies. I mean, you take a look at all of the stuff that happened after The Matrix and Bullet Time.
Oh yeah,
That was, yeah, yeah, it does first domino in a really big one.
oh yeah,
Okay, so
definitely.
getting back to Dredd.
We're getting back to it. So
Oh
no,
yeah,
as far as Dredd is concerned, like we were talking about the acting and everything, and I also liked Olivia Thirlby as well, who played Cassandra Anderson. She plays a telepath.
oh Yeah, Chuck Anderson. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's something that you didn't cover in the summary that Anderson is a psychic.
Yeah, and a rookie.
Oh yeah, yeah, rookie psionic. There you go.
Well, her
Um,
ability is interesting because she says that wearing a helmet kind of blocks her ability slightly a bit from projecting out and seeing to read other people's minds. Apparently, she can read other people's minds with their helmet on, but it's harder for her to do it with it. It might be just a mental block thing, in my opinion, but
yeah. There's.
yeah. So, but like, it's interesting how she uses it to her advantage in certain situations, and how
Oh,
sometimes it can be kind of a headache to her, literally.
oh yeah. I love the way that they portrayed it in there. I mean, you can see when they're first introducing her, and she's looking at that photograph, and she just has, or I shouldn't say looking because her eyes are closed. She's not looking. She's experiencing her parents again, and it's like I love the way they put that. The way she, not to put too fine a point on it, mind fucks the one bad guy
Yeah.
when she needs to get the info out of him. I mean, everything they did about the telepathy and that, or psionic abilities in general, because she kind of shows several of them, was really good. I really like that.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And like what she does later on as well. It's interesting seeing somebody having to deal with an ability and having to control it, because being a telepath in general, you're always hearing everybody else's thoughts, no matter if you're trying to actually directly go look at them. So it almost has to be like she has to pay attention to one person and block everybody else out.
I, now that is an interesting perspective, because I always believe that each world has or each property, what John probably gonna call it, has their own rules for how certain things work. In one world, yeah, it might be the fact that telepaths can't keep out other people's thoughts, and in another they may have to concentrate just for one. Yeah, she seemed really to be somewhere in the middle. I think that for overall, it's like she's hearing voices in a crowd. Okay, yeah, she can pretty much ignore them, but if somebody all of a sudden screams in her ear and thinks about certain things, or feels very strongly, passionately about something, that might overwhelm her, or make her jump or something.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's kind of interesting, but no. But we find out that she has had this for some time, so she's had,
Oh yeah,
years to you know figure
build her
out how,
filters.
to filter out and to figure out how it works. So, but no, I like how it's kind of interesting that the rest of the judges, they want her on the team. They want her to be a judge because of her special ability. They want to kind of use her
Yeah.
because what better person to find out if somebody's guilty than a telepath? So.
And that actually brings up in another whole conversation we don't have to get into, legalities of telepathy.
I don't think they really. They didn't seem to actually have anything in the rule book for telepaths. Like,
Well, the closest thing was, it's like at one point, she Dredd says to her, "Are you sure it's the guy?" Anderson says 99%, and then Dredd says back, "You can't execute with 99%." And it's like, he is somebody that deals in absolutes.
yes,
So
he,
I yeah, go ahead.
he's not a Sith.
There you go. Okay, so rewinding tape a little bit, when we were talking about visual effects, there is one in Dredd, I think, that really deserves to be pointed out and discussed a little bit, and that's the slow-mo effect.
Oh yeah, and it's epic in
Yeah.
3D. It's just epic to see that
I,
in 3D.
oh, I can only imagine, because like I said, I saw that it is, they have like color shift, and obviously the slowing down, and I can only imagine in 3D that must have been glorious. Wow. But I mean, if you kind of break it down to different, different things that it shows, it's narcotics. That means you are getting some sort of a high, and it is a little bit of hallucinogenic, at least temporally.
Yeah.
So it everything down, and I started thinking about that. If you could separate the effect of the time dilation from the narcotic effect, and you gave the time dilation to somebody in large enough doses, could you imagine what a combat drug that could be? Wow. Sorry. My mind goes in places like that.
No, definitely. The slow mo, literally the slow mo effect, was pretty
Yeah.
epic, especially the first time you see it in the van at the beginning, and then you see it with Lena Headey's character, and then you see it with the storming of that apartment room where they had to, break, pretty much blow up the door. How
Breach the door.
yeah, breach
Yes.
the door. How you see a person's stomach, slowly get impacted
Oh
by
yeah.
the impact of the explosion, and the ripple effect and bullet going through somebody's
Oh yeah.
face. It's like,
Okay. Actually, the my two favorite slow mo effect scenes are both with Mama.
oh yeah,
The number one is when she's doing this in the bathtub with the water. It really looks great. And when she's being thrown through the window and all the glass around her. Okay. When you're ready, I do want to talk about guns.
oh, you're talking about the judge's guns. Like, are we going to do comparisons between, like, the judge's guns in this and the 2012 version compared to the 1995 version?
Actually, I wasn't going to be talking about the lawgivers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're talking about everybody else's guns.
I'm talking about firearms in general.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, all right. For the people at home, I am former military. I am former infantry. I am a combat veteran. There are a few things I want to make sure people know about guns. Okay. Number one, they are amazingly loud. Okay. There is the one scene I actually laughed out loud. I mean, not at first, when they have the three Gatlings, and they are raising that one level to get to the judges. Those, I believe, are 30 caliber Vulcans, which, wow, that's just insane. The amount of sound coming out of there, and she says, concentrate the fire. No, nobody's hearing anything she says on that one. That's when I laughed. Okay. I was lucky enough at one point. I was at a spec ops range, and they had a 143, the 5.56 Gatling. The sound coming out of that was unfreaking believable. Imagine ripping silk at a couple hundred decibels, and yeah, you if you say anything, you can't even hear yourself in your own head because of the amount of noise involved.
You almost need a headset with a mic in there to talk to other people, huh?
Even then, something like this would maybe keep you from from having permanent hearing damage.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but as for the bullets and the wounds, okay, if I'm getting too dark here, you can cut this out. Okay.
Oh, no, definitely.
Okay. I've been shot twice. I've had a gun blow up in my face once, and I've been shot with rock salt, but we won't get into that. I was a dumb kid. But you would be amazed at how how little a gunshot in a non-vital area hurts. I've taken one in the arm, one in the leg, and I was in a combat situation, so I didn't even notice until afterwards. It's like, oh shit, I'm bleeding, you know. And don't get me wrong. I mean, most of the wounds that they show there are absolutely brutal, well done with the effects. Okay, but good Lord, I can't remember where I was going with this. I actually freaking had this down in my notes, and I forgot what I was going for.
Yeah, some of the scenes are a little over the top, like, but it is when, like, what was it? When Anderson gets out and I think she's still handcuffed and able to take a guy's gun and blow his head right off, like, just against the wall.
I don't think she's still handcuffed at that point, but yeah, no. It's obvious that the judges have ridiculous training.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, and one of the things that I've been told is because I have not been taught a lot of hand-to-hand in the military, but the one thing they say is if you have a gun, the only reason you have a gun is to use it at range. Okay.
Oh yeah.
If you let somebody get that close, you've already failed. So anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, the main thing I wanted to volume of guns, because it's oppressively loud.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, on the subject of guns, now we're here. I want to do the comparison between both lawgivers, between the '95 and the 2012 versions.
Wow.
Because
there isn't a lot of difference.
Yeah, I mean,
there's not a lot of.
I think the 2012 version gave more of I don't know. It just seemed more real to me, the way, especially how the gun worked.
Well, okay. For the record, customizable ammo. That would require the effectively replicator technology. Okay, but you're right. It was more down to earth. Okay, I mean, the one, mind you, of course, you know, Stallone's Dredd was very campy. But one of the things that I kind of laughed at was when he did double whammy. And it was like two barrels, and I'm like, oh my god.
Well, I was always wondering, because of the angle those shots actually hit, they're going to go in a straight line. They're not going to angle at 45-degree angles, or even 35-degree angles. They're not going to hit their targets like that. So, you know, they had to put a little bit of somewhat disbelief in that situation because, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It is a fantasy, science fiction world.
Yes, yeah. There's. I usually give any type of fictional thing at least 1 or 2 points of disbelief. That, you know, I'll give you that. You know. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like the. I like what Dredd threw out, the little ball that rolled on the ground, and it's pretty much a flashbang. But also,
yeah, and that's more realistic than you might believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
other than the remote detonation, which is, you know, pretty expensive for those. But yeah, I've used flashbangs, and there's some scary shit right there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. No, but I do like the sequences in here where there are hand to hand combat. There's a lot of gun play, as well. Um, the judges definitely are trained in all those. I think even though, in my opinion, even though they are trained in all the hand to hand combat and all different types of weapons, including their lawgivers, I think one of the core training things that they really try to nail down for all the judges, and it's probably the hardest thing to become a judge, is to memorize all the laws, all the things they have to do, because they have to
Oh
judge
yeah,
somebody right on the spot, and they will
yeah.
be, they have to pretty much report everything that has happened.
Well, I would think, like, just a theory here. I would think that if they got to the point where they were trimming down the system to the point where it's like judge, jury, executioner, one person, I'm thinking they're probably going to boil down the laws too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, especially when we find out there are also corrupt judges in the system as well, because they're just
Oh,
fed up.
yeah,
They're just fed up with what they consider a meat grinder.
that actually, I'm glad you brought that one up because that's another point I got on my notes here. Um, that when I first saw Dredd, like I said, back in the '80s when I was reading the comics, I didn't have access to the full library. It's before the internet, so um, I didn't even know at the time that Karl Urban's Dredd came out that there were corrupt judges. And one of the first check what that's a thing.
That is a thing. That is a thing. And that was actually a really good part of that series.
Oh yeah, and so I yeah, it's like when I saw that, I was like, when I saw those four coming up, and
It's just the tip of the
I mean,
iceberg too.
oh yeah, yeah, but no, I mean when I'm seeing the in Dread, I'm seeing those four judges come up to the two that are waiting outside, and basically the way that they did that, it's like, no, they can't be. And yes, my worldview was shattered. So
Well, and that's also an interesting thing, is like in comparison to some of the other judges on the outside, compared to Dredd is by the book. Like he lives and dies by the
yeah,
book, and if he
right.
fails to follow any of that, I think he feels that he just probably just hang up his badge, because even to the very end he lived by the book and ended
Yeah.
up like uh, taking down the villain, but uh, he is one of those hard asses that just he's good at his job, and he can't be swayed by anything else. He just will do his job and then go home and wake up in the morning and do it again.
It's his faith.
Yes, it's kind of like Mandalorian. It's their religion.
This is the way.
This, yeah, for Dredd, this literally is the way. You can't buy him off or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Um, okay. What would you say was your biggest disappointment with Dread?
That there wasn't a sequel.
No.
Oh, okay.
I agree with you on that one. I'm talking about the actual movie.
Okay.
Just it.
Okay. So I love that we could see part of the world of Dread, of Mega City One. I would have loved to see more locations. I understand that they were dealing with a whole situation where they were stuck in a building and everything, but there literally is so much world that they can actually, um, you know, discover, what for the viewer to discover. Which I'm actually hoping that the show Mega City One is actually fully greenlit, so we can actually see that in the coming future.
I beg your pardon.
Oh yeah, there's a show that they're doing for Mega City One.
Who? Where? What?
You
Details,
you you
please?
have to look that up. I don't think
Oh
originally
my
it was
god.
greenlit, and Karl Urban was really interested in coming back and making cameo appearances in it.
Well,
So
fuck yes.
yeah,
Cameo. Oh, why wouldn't it be? Anyway.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
But no, it's an interesting universe, and that's the only disappointment that I had in
Oh
the
yeah.
film. Everything else was, in my opinion, perfect.
Okay. Here's, I got my biggest disappointment. Okay. Um. What was in the scene where just after the Gatlings leveled the frickin' that one floor, they jump out of the building and land on that half pipe, right? They had an opportunity there, and they missed it. What should have happened was one of the kids was like, "Are you judges here for us?" And having Dredd look at him and say, "Skateboarding is not a crime." That, that, I'm so disappointed they didn't do that. Because I thought I literally, it's like when it happened first, like, skateboarding is not a crime. Say it, say it. Okay, but all right, getting back to the world though, the Judge Dredd. Have you heard of Judge Death?
Oh yeah. I remember. It's been a while. Hold on a second. I'm pulling that up. Just tell me while we're looking that up.
It's I don't know all the details. As a matter of fact, I just remembered it since the beginning of this.
Oh yeah.
Like
That was the part of the Dark Judges. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's some alternate reality, something. I don't remember all the details, but basically, he's like a Grim Reaper judge and evil. And I remember now. This makes me wonder. You know, this is like a point of suspension of disbelief that I don't know if most audiences would be able to accept. What do you think?
I mean, they accepted the Marvel universe, and the multiverse
Oh,
is.
wait. No. Don't get started on that one. Okay, we're talking about you're comparing a given genre, cyberpunk, okay, or dystopian,
Okay.
um, versus the Marvel universe, which is a well-known, prolific comic universe. Okay, the thing is, I mean, unless there was a lot more to the Judge Dredd 2000 AD world that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, and Dredd is steeped more in reality than it is more, even though it is a
Yeah.
fictional, dystopian future. They're more based in reality and physics and everything. So, bringing in somebody like the Dark Judges and Judge Death and everything would kind of throw
Yeah.
people off a little bit, at going, okay, so where are you going with this series? But then
Yeah.
you also have Cassandra Anderson, who's a telepath. So.
That is a good point. That is a good point. Huh. Maybe I mean, now mind you, this gets into back something I was saying at the beginning about people adapting the story more towards what they want. But if they could somehow tie the existence of the Dark Judges into established telepathy, psionics type stuff, you think that would be something they could go for?
That could be something interesting to go over, especially if they are able to actually do the Mega City One television show and actually delve deeper into that. Now, so unfortunately, they were in the middle of writing it when the pandemic came up, and so that's been put on hold, unfortunately.
Oh, wait, you can't say pandemic.
Well, I can say pandemic. I can't say the actual other word.
Like I said, I thought I was born together.
Yeah, there's certain words. There's certain like trigger words. But no, when I heard that they were actually originally even thinking about doing another like Judge Dredd Mega City One property, I was like, that actually makes sense, and now I think that would work, and they wouldn't have to put a huge budget behind it. I mean, this is not like Game of Thrones money. They maybe deal with one block at a time. It's a big city, um,
Oh
but
yeah.
it would be interesting to do a lot of these side stories because there's so much to do, and the Dredd can pop in every once in a while. But yeah, if you actually look up the whole what they're planning on doing with Mega City One, and unfortunately it got put on hold. I don't think it's canceled. I
Yeah.
think it's just put on hold for right now because they've been talking
Okay.
about it since 2017, I think. So
Oh good God.
yeah, so it's I was really disappointed when they didn't come out with a sequel to this because I think this is the perfect type of film to come out with a sequel with it. It wasn't that expensive of a film. It's become a cult hit.
Oh, absolutely. The thing is, though, what you got to ask is, what kind of stories can they tell and still have it based around Dread? I mean, this one here, it was kind of a dual plot following the one the case of Mama and the evaluation of Anderson,
Yeah.
which, as it came out, was a great balance. I thought it was awesome. But yes, do you think they can do that type of a juggling act again? And if so, what about?
Oh yeah, definitely. Also give I don't know, give a villain more charismatic role that we actually care for the person and we really don't want to see them dead, but we understand they're really fucked up and evil. But no, it's the interesting thing is like you get villains like I'll give you a comparison. Somebody like Hannibal Lecter. Yes, he's a bad guy. Yes, we know he is a vicious person that deserves to be where he is, but we can't help almost to fall in love with him because he's so, you know, he's almost pristine when you
Well
see him.
mannered?
Well mannered, pristine.
Yeah.
Just like he's just this
Yes.
person that you want to have a conversation with, but then you realize, oh yeah, and he eats people. But
He might eat me.
yeah, you might eat me, or you might fall in love with me, depending if you're, Clarice. But
Yeah.
it's just, you know, it's those type of villains, in my opinion, that they're really well written,
Oh yeah.
and they're so charismatic in that sense that you kind of forget for a second that, oh yeah, I'm supposed to hate this person.
Actually, are we diverging a little bit? Are we talking about other villains now, or
No,
do we
no,
want to stick with
we'll
Dredd?
stick with
Because
Dredd. We'll stick with Dredd. No, I'm
okay,
just saying what they could
uh,
do, like in the future, if they decide to go that route, with another Dredd
yeah.
villain.
The thing is, if they do decide, if they do go on with the series and everything like that, they would have to start establishing things if they ever want to do Judge Death and the Dark Judges. They would have to start establishing shit of a more esoteric nature early on. And I want to say that I hope they eventually do it because the one that I read with Judge Death in it was pretty freaking intense, even for Judge Dredd. So I hope they do it.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Now we're gonna get to the part of the review where we actually give our review and then our score of the film. So you would like to go first?
Well, no. I'll look. I'll watch you do it, and I'll follow you up. Follow up.
Okay, all right. Now I've seen a lot of action films, and especially I love campy '80s and '90s action films. I grew up with them. Having a more grounded action film like this, it brings in a different type of audience. But I thought they really did a really good balance for Dredd, and the subtle CGI they used in the sense of especially when they went into slow motion was incredible, and it was even better in 3D. You know, especially how the blood splurted out and right at the screen. You can almost reach out and touch it. When Lena Headey's hand came out of the bathtub, like that was all 3D, and it's just like you felt like the water was going to probably come right at you and hit you. It is beautiful because it was in slow motion as well. So I really enjoyed those scenes. It really brought something different that I haven't seen in a while. And I know I've seen slow motion before. I've seen it in The Matrix and I've seen it in some other movies. They did something different with this. It wasn't one of those gimmicks where they just threw it on the screen for no particular reason. There was a reason for each scene that was in slow motion, and I thought they executed that really well. As far as the acting is concerned, Karl Urban doesn't have that many lines in here, but he did an excellent job at the character he was playing. He said what he needed to when he had to. I liked Lena Headey's character. She was a character that you could almost understand her circumstance and why she became who she became. And then, especially all the way to the end, you're like, well, she's going to, stay the person that, she's not going to change. There's no change in her. She's especially all the way down to her death. Spoilers. We already talked about it. But yeah, definitely. But also we have some interesting world building, in my opinion. The set design is incredible. The level by level parts where we see them traveling up this giant mega block building is. You look up and you're like, it just keeps going and going and going. Just think of going to the top level and dropping from there. It would seem to take forever, especially if you're on slow-mo.
I actually wound up at one point because they said it was a kilometer. I did the math. Total of 22 seconds.
Wow.
Is how long it would take to fall 1 kilometer.
But it seems like forever, too, if you're on slow-mo, huh?
Oh, even if you weren't on solo, I'm sure that it's like, crap.
Oh, yeah, even in that scene where Lena Headey is falling to her death, just following each level that they had traveled and seeing the destruction that was brought on either by her or by Dredd, and especially going past that area where the theater is, and just seeing the guys are still burning. They're still running around on fire.
Yeah.
They're like, how long have they been running around on fire?
Disturbing.
Yes. No, but it was in a sense almost beautiful, especially as the glass passed through the screen. And like I said, and I keep bringing up the 3D, just that 3D shot was insanely beautiful. It was like a work of art.
You're making me so jealous.
Yeah,
You're making me so jealous.
Yeah, I think they actually have a 3D for 3D televisions version of it, but you would have to have a 3D player and a 3D television. Money. I mean, they're cheaper than they were when they originally first came out, but it's still it's still money. But it was a very well shot scene. The movie just made me want more, and that's what you want. And when you trying to make a franchise, you want to make them want more, but you can end it there, and that's why some movies are like they leave you on. They leave you going, okay, so we're gonna have a sequel. And it's like they leave you with but there's continuation, and in here they could just drop it and go, this is it. But I wanted more, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I just wanted to see more of the world and see more of Dredd, and what he does in his daily life. Not like wakes up in the morning and has a bowl of cereal. More of like who he busts and how he reacts to certain situations. So
his cereal justice flakes.
Yes. He's eating. I am the law. I am the law. No, but compared to the '95 version and to this is like leaps and bounds with acting, with production, direction, and writing. So much more than they probably could have really done with the '95 version, because they just wanted that I think more of that action 90s, 80s, 90s nostalgia for a lot of people. And
Oh yeah, they went camp with the earlier one, and that's not a bad thing.
oh yeah,
But
definitely. And as far as this film is concerned, I don't see much in the way of anything that I could really say much negativity about. It's not a perfect film, but it is a film that I give high marks to, and I recommend it to anybody that likes this type of genre, especially if they have already read the 2000 AD comic book. So, my score, I give it like 1 to 10. So my score is going to be an 8.5
okay,
out of 10. So
okay, that's cool. All right, my impression of the movie as a whole. Like I said before, I love movies. Okay, um, I find it in some ways it's more difficult to find things wrong with movies, especially if they are a fun ride. Okay, um, the original Judge Dredd, fun ride, campy as fuck, lots of fun. Okay, this one here, not campy, but it's great for other reasons. Okay, like I said, my biggest problem with it is that the lack of the skateboarding is not a crime.
yeah.
Fine. But you're right about the effects with the slow mo scenes. Oh my god. I can only imagine how great they must have looked in 3D with the little prismatic effect and just. Yeah, I mean, they looked great on a 2D screen. The acting, already mentioned the techie. Sorry, crappy with names.
Domino Gleeson.
The actor.
Yeah, Domino Gleeson.
Thank you. Yeah, he, like I said, that role was just amazing. I think that he played that so well. I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody else did a great job, but that type of fear is hard to do convincingly. And he did it so great. The story was good. It was solid for the setting. Um, all that being said, I still am only going to be giving it an 8.
Fair.
Okay, because I mean, as much as I'm expounding on Judge Dredd, there are other movies that I lose my freaking mind about in a good way. So, um, admittedly, the original Judge Dredd would be 6.5. So, um, yeah, I mean, there's not much else for me to bring up. I mean, uh, it was a fun movie. It really was.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and it was a storyline that it was easy to follow. It wasn't a super complicated story.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of the higher scores I get for movies, their storylines are a little more complicated. I wouldn't say for the average crowd.
Convoluted.
Well, I would say convoluted. I would say not for the average crowds. Usually more in a sense of like you have to watch it again sometimes to get some parts of the film that you're like, oh yeah, now I get where they're going. And I like to, I like to work those mysteries out. Sometimes I try to catch them the first time around. Sometimes I have to watch it 2 or 3 times. But for Judge Dredd, you can sit down and eat popcorn. It's not exactly a popcorn type of film, but it is one of those films where it's a
Right.
feast for the eyes, and you get where they're going, and it's a simple premise, and they have an objective, and they get it done.
Different levels of enjoyment depending on the person. Okay, if the person just wants action, yeah, that's all they're gonna see. They want a little bit more of the intrigue in it. They can see that movie. Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you love this type of like action and brutality, you'll definitely enjoy Dread if you have not already seen it. This has been out for
Oh
a
yeah.
while, so hopefully you've seen it. But if you have not, this is definitely one that you need to check out. It is
Yeah.
no, it used to be on Amazon Prime a while back, and they took it off. I personally own it, so It's I just like watching it every so often because it just one of those films I could pop on. I don't even need to even watch the screen because I have everything memorized and I can see it in my head. I know what scenes are popping up, and I'm like, "Yep, that was awesome." So yeah, definitely
Okay.
if you need to check out an awesome action film or show your friends, check out Dredd from 2012 or Dredd 3D.
No, if you can see it in 3D, I haven't even seen it in 3D, and I'm telling you, see it in 3D if you can. Oh my God. See, I actually the thing is, if you know somebody with a 3D screen and a Blu-ray player, if you have the disc, I'm pretty sure most Blu-rays, if they have a 3D version, it comes with the disc, or it comes on another disc with the movie. Up there, my MCU, um, all of the Blu-rays, or all of the movies have both versions if they have a 3D version.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think you got the what was that what was it? What was it called? The version of the all the movies. What was it called?
the collector's edition,
Yeah, the collector's edition. Yeah.
or yeah, I got the limited collector's edition with the case with the. You know what? Let's do a Marvel episode later, and I'll do an unboxing of those two.
Oh, nice, nice. Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
because those two have some really fun stuff in them. They really do. So,
Oh yeah. All
but
right.
we
Well,
can save that. Always leave them wanting more.
always leave the viewers wanting more. So Smoke, thank you for coming on to review Dread 2012 with me. It was awesome time. Also hearing your
Oh,
take.
thank.
You also heard your take as well on the film because it's always interesting to hear another person's take on the film that I enjoyed for so long and have constantly watched to the point of I have it almost memorized by heart. I didn't even have to rewatch it because I've seen it so many
Oh
times.
God.
Um,
Oh yeah, well, I mean, to tell the audience here, since what was it, a week ago when you said you wanted to do this,
yeah.
um, I watched Dread 3 times, including just before this recording. So yeah, I wanted to know my shit before we did this.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
didn't realize that. I didn't realize you had it memorized. Wow. Okay. But it's not necessarily a bad thing because I mean, most of those up there, the Marvel movies, I have memorized. Okay, so
Oh yeah. Thank you, Spoke, for
that's
coming
cool.
on the review, and uh, be sure
Thanks
to
for
check.
putting up with me.
Yeah, definitely, and be sure for everyone to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel, GNERD Corner, and remember to enjoy your chimichanga.